trouble in my way. Whispered in my ear, she ain't had good since last May. And she know I could change all that if I want to right now today. Straight put her in a place, make her ass wanna stay. Now I can never get away, cause every time I come around, I can tell you be looking at me. And I can tell you be wondering if I'm really loving what I say. It be wrong if we get along, because I know me. Still I try to be strong, say keep your G on, but she ain't tryna hear me. She ain't tryna hear me. She ain't tryna hear me. She says she wanna drink, do drugs, and have sex tonight. But I got church in the morning, church in the morning. She says she wanna drink, do drugs, and have sex tonight. But I got church in the morning, church in the morning.
Hopefully we can go to heaven. I pray. Hopefully we can go to heaven. Cause I'm staying. Hopefully we can go to heaven. I pray. Hopefully we can go to heaven.
We can go to heaven.
Cause I'm staying.
Started hell in a fur coat. Walls like jerk coat, pussy like her you go. Loud like church folk, heavy like workload. How you like Mercos, never seen Kirk F. Bang like Kirk go, ankle like Kirk, came back like dirt. Rose, she always get in her own way. When I try, she always say, hey, I don't wanna get saved, don't wanna be saved. Pray that one of these days she'll wanna be saved. Keep my head up, I wrap the silver around the cloud. I went to junior church, little children run around. I like what he gave you, I'm just trying to save you. I got something saved up in case you come around. She says she wanna drink, do drugs, and have sex tonight. But I got church in the morning, church in the morning. She says she wanna drink, do drugs, and have sex tonight. But I got church in the morning, church in the morning.
Hopefully we can go to heaven. I pray. Hopefully we can go to heaven. Cause I'm staying. Hopefully we can go to heaven. I pray. Hopefully we can go to heaven. Cause I'm staying. Hopefully we can go to heaven.
Walls like jerk coat, pussy like her you go.
Hopefully we can go to heaven.
Like church folk, heavy like workload. How you like work stay?
Hopefully we can go to heaven.
And it still ain't a goddamn thing they can tell me. What could compel me to jump in, get a piece of this bread, put in, wake up, cake up, walking in the form of my elders. I'm glowed up. Bitch, don't I look like a pharaoh? Fuck your story tale, nigga, pull up. Shit and piss on your head, nigga, clocking. Grab my check out the mail room, then back in. Papa, daddy war bucks, like Warhol with an 8-ball and a paintbrush. I'm AWOL, but I ain't done. Full-time killing, bad hole driller, chowder for the kidding, mellow yellow lemon, I'm glowed up. Yeah, same town stealing, same swag chilling, bagging for the pen, can't you see I'm living, I'm glowed up. I'm glowed up. Yeah, you see me shining, nigga. The silver lining, nickel plated refinery, never sweating the minor words of the most honorable. No bullshit in me, constant laxatives in your child away. That's the shit I can't condone. Full power until we reach the maximum. Gonna own my worries, I'm loony, absolutely out my dome. Stuck in my capital, I carved in my legacy. Not tell me it's you with me, chaperone. Full-time killing, bad hole driller, chowder for the kidding, mellow yellow lemon, I'm glowed up. I'm glowed up. Yeah, same time stealing, squad chillin', bagging for the pillin'. Can't you see I'm living? I'm glowed up. I'm glowed up. Lately I've been glowed up. Paper finally showed up. Shawty got me going up. Feeling like the only one out here. Even if I slowed up, even if it didn't last the whole damn night. Lately I've been glowed up. Feeling like the only one out here. Lately I've been glowed up. Paper finally showed up. Shawty got me going up. Feeling like the only one out here. Even if I slowed up, got enough work to last the whole damn night. Lately I've been glowed up. Feeling like the only one out here. Switch the whole life back to smile. Something back to smile. Still in the hands of the one who cares for you. And it's the whole game that you play. Something back with the memories. All our memories. Still in the hands of the one who cares for you. Just another name. Not just someone to be in the hands of love, just like I wanna be. Not just another name, not just someone to be in the hands of love, just like I wanna be. I might be just like I wanna be in the hands of love, just like I wanna be. I might be just like I wanna be in the hands of love.
Pull up in my bucket and I'm feeling like fuck it. Used to dream about it when my cousin had a cutlass. We were making move 19 with the swole. Hit up JK, turned it to a video. Ayy, riding with the windows up because my shit is broke. Just like we were broke. Coppers trying to inbound vehicle. We all see him no. Ayy, Squeaky had a Buick, he will play our latest music. Ayy, I just backseat drive, catch the vibe in the hoop. Ayy, I don't got a crib, but I tell my lady move it. Ayy, she would take her sister car to so crash into it. Ayy, yeah, I'm still wishing. And if it break down, then I'm getting out and pushing. Ayy, me and one was on the E-way and we blew the trans. Now I'm on the train like, damn, yeah. Trying to fund this Uber with a new email. Ayy, Sam, I love your story, man. Do please tell. Ayy, pull up in my bucket and I'm feeling like fuck it. Felt the same way when I ain't pull up in nothing. CTA short, ballin' on the budget. Riding in the Suki till the next thing coming. I'ma pull up in my bucket and I'm feeling like fuck it. Felt the same way when I ain't pull up in nothing. CTA short, ballin' on the budget. Riding in the Suki till the next thing coming. Ayy, Kobe with the station wagon and he hot box that big. Chill, pick me up from school, nephew, hop in. Came home straight skunk like I know my mama mad. Ayy, still don't smoke, but I smell like my friends. On my nigga day my bucket and I'm feeling like fuck it. Felt the same way when I ain't pull up in nothing. CTA short, ballin' on the budget. Riding in the soupy till the next thing coming. I'ma pull up in my bucket and I'm feeling like fuck it. Felt the same way when I ain't pull up in nothing. CTA short, ballin' on the budget. Riding in the soupy till the next thing coming. Hey.
There are so many reasons to live alone. There is only one reason to die for you. When I'm away, no, my heart it shows.
Dave, how do I turn off the monitors while I'm setting this up? Do you know? Hello, good morning.
I don't know what I did, but I turned that one up. I
Perfect,
turned that one
perfect.
off.
Thanks,
There you go.
you're the best. Yeah, as soon as I set this up. We're putting something up in the meantime to run in the background. Yeah, yeah. Oh, shoot, sorry about that. Yeah, let me do that. So it's just whatever's on display, right?
Yeah, and then once we
Okay.
once you guys start, we're gonna switch it to cameras.
Okay, perfect. Let me at least get. Is there a way where I could put an alternate screen while I'm trying to work on in the?
Not right now, not with what we've set up.
Okay. Okay. Let me get to it ASAP. Sorry about that. So what I'm gonna do is, well, I wanted the Twitter wall, but we'll have to get to that later. So in the meantime, let's just put up that other one. Where was that? I can't see. Good morning. Please stand up. Yes. Say that. So I'm gonna do this for now. Do that for now. Later on, we'll have the Twitter wall.
Memorize it. It's for the haves and the have wanna give a fucks. Hey, I ride around in your car. I put my weed in your blood. I am the sky to your star. I am the end of your month. You are the start of my day. You brought the smile from my face. I see the world from your eyes. You pull the thought from my side. I know you love me. It's fair, I know you love me. But yeah, I know you love me. It's fair, I know you love me. You give me all all that you got. You make it stretch it and flip. I fell in love with your thighs. I learned this morning your hips. You know I'm caught in my vibe, but I still give you my rib. You hear him calling my name, but know it's hard for me here. I left my home and my son. I chose the world and nothing. I say you know I'll be back. You try your best to pretend. I say you all that I want, and when I make it, it's real. I hear him calling my name. It's getting hard for me here to know you love me. It's rare to know you love me. But yeah, I know you love me. It's rare, I know you love me. And these stars are nothing but your cousins. And staring at your mama, heaven wasn't father the kids. So how do you hear I'm using narcotics? No, I don't wanna be here if I don't gotta. My weed habit so close to snorting powder. Got a few rice burgers on it by $1. Feel so hollow unless you're using narcotics. So I don't wanna be here if I don't gotta. My weed habit so close to snorting powder. Got a few bitches, but it's only by $1. Feel so hollow unless you're using narcotics. See, I don't wanna.
Man, you talking about this, you talking about that, you talking about you ain't got nothing to talk about. Man, find a motherfucking topic. God damn, just find the topic, bro. Seriously, god damn. Complicated ass young motherfucker.
She said, all of my bitches got friends. Yeah. All of my bitches got friends. And they bad, so we're good. It's enough for the clip. All of my bitches got friends. You don't need a pick. No, all of my bitches got friends.
I ain't really gotta rap about it, just talk about it, cause I live it now. So let me tell you about this PYT that I seen this week, I had to take it back. 5'2" with a brown fur and a hair tie with them light eyes. And she would make me throw it all away for a fun time and a right prize. Bad as fuck, ass fatter than a hammer truck. Ask her probably keep my hammer tucked. The type to sign them down and then a penny stuck. I run them up, wanna kick it with you. Get a house and a pick it with you. Pop up on you at your workplace, not your birthday, just to let them niggas know I built it with you. Your best friend always coming through with them Macaulay Culkin when you're home alone. And I ain't even trying to dog you out, but can you feed a nigga just a little bone? One of you, one of me, you and me, we make 3 or maybe 4, and just 2 more just to even score. Step 2 ahead to play chess, had to hit her with the full press. Then I told her I'd do anything just to chat with her for a quick sec. Let it sit, let it process, then she went and shit short, yes. Whispered in the ear, told her baby I won't let you, I'm in more sex.
All of my bitches got friends. And they bad, so we're good. It's enough for the clip. All of my bitches got friends. You don't need a pick. No, all of my bitches got.
All of my women got friends, most of them black with a blend, and most of them off on the ends, and they don't care who they offend. I had a girl who was tatted up from the neck down, she was super crazy. Met a shorty with a ill grandma who would fight a lot and she a 90s baby. Complain about me always on the road and talk to other women and she wanted babies. Had to shake it like a common cold, then I had a show and then I saw your baby. Then I booked it, now we chasing back to back to back to back with no indication. Now I'm flying to your ticket, you across the world to see a couple different faces. Hood nigga dreams, fuck like movie scenes. Hit it from the back, boost your self-esteem. Heard you left to visit cousin now, reconnecting with your mama now. Now you want me to fly to Sweden, have to fly you to the motherland. You was mine and I am yours and you used to mine when I go on tour. I ain't really trying to play no games, I can win the battle, you can win the war. I'm just trying to fucking let you either on the bed and we can take it to the floor. Crazy as shit, so I started down cause I saw something that I can't ignore.
All of my bitches got friends. your hands up, yup, put your hands up, what? Put your hands up. If you and all your girls bad as fuck, put your hands up. You and all your girls bad as fuck.
Smooth in the motherfucker. Suede on the inside. Candy paint, candy paint. I ain't gotta tell you what the rims look like. Look, I'm gripping wood like a motherfucker. She asked me, can a friend ride? Kelly wanna have a drink. And Shani wanna pop pills all night. Look, don't be fucking with my tape, dad. You gon' listen to this Marvin. You gon' listen to this Bloodstone. Oh, y'all niggas want that Barry White. Well, I don't really fuck with that right there. That can make a nigga act up right there. But go and get your rocks off, boo. No, I don't really do all that, but it's more for you. I'm far from a pimp, but I'm close to you. You fucking with an old soul, twice removed. My pops used to work up on the fighter jets. Maybe that's the reason I be through. Now who the fuck called me a player? I ain't one of these young niggas out here sweating for a pay stub. I'm a coach. I'ma teach these bitches how to lay up. Now most of y'all can't do shit, but all my chicks cook grits. And roll a split at the same damn time. You ain't lived long enough to have a bitch this fine. Now if you don't mind, if I call you a bitch, it's cause you're my bitch. And as long as no one else calls you a bitch, then there won't be no problems. Now if I call you a trick, it's cause you paid rent. And as long as you don't call it 6, then there won't be no problems. Walk with me now. She with it, she with it. Keep it 300, I ain't even gotta hit it. She with it, she with it. All she wanna do is watch a real nigga winning. She with it, she with it. Look me in my eye, there'll be no sin. She with it, she with it. Got a whole lot of women, all of them with it. Yes, Lord. My mama said don't trust these hoes, boy, be about your little story. Now my mama told me that, why the fuck would I listen to you? Yes, Lord. You never go broke chasing riches, but you might go broke chasing every little stank asshole with a tongue piercing. Now, if I call you a bitch, it's cause you're my bitch. And as long as no one else call you a bitch, then there won't be no problems. Now, if I call you a trick, it's cause you paid rent. And as long as you don't call it 6, then there won't be no problems. Walk with me now. She with it, she with it. Keep it 300, I ain't even gotta hit it. She with it, she with it. All she wanna do is watch a real nigga winning. She with it, she with it. Look me in my eye, there'll be no sin. She with it, she with it. Got a whole lot of women, all of them with it. Yes, Lord.
Welcome to the second annual Equity in Action Conference. We will be starting our opening plenary shortly. Please take your seats.
Let's play, let's pretend I could have my way. What you gonna say if I ever walk away?
Welcome to the second annual Equity in Action Conference. We will be starting momentarily. Please take your seats. To begin the program for the land acknowledgement and multi-faith grounding, please welcome to the stage B. Zamora, Imam Taha, Rabbi Lori Koski, the Reverend Madison Shockley.
You may be seated. Thank you very much. Today we are here to do a lot of good work. And in our way, in our traditions, we always start our gatherings by giving thanks to Mother Earth, to all the animas, the spirits that we call conquistadoras, the ones that have come from the past, the ones that are with us today, and the ones that will come from the future. And in our tradition, we give thanks through dance, through song, and of course through prayer and our intentions. And so today we want to acknowledge the Kumeyaay Nation, the original inhabitants of this earth. Dear Creator, thank you for allowing the Kumeyaay to take care of these lands for thousands of years and for blessing us with the beautiful abundance that we have, not only in San Diego, but in all of this earth, this Mother Earth. We give thanks to Tonantzin, the Mother Earth, because it is from Tonantzin, the Mother Earth, that all life comes and that all life returns. We ask Creator Spirit to bless you, to bless all the people who've come today to work on the hard work that we have ahead of us, to ask the Creator to give you clarity, to give you guidance, to give you wisdom, but more than that, to give you compassion, to help you to remember your heart, to remember to love, and to care for your brothers and your sisters. We have a lot of work to do in this nation, and we ask Creator to guide us with peace and joy in our heart when we find our brothers and our sisters who are in need, those that are homeless, those that need to eat, those that have been separated brutally from their families, those that have illnesses, that are suffering from mental health illnesses, physical illnesses. We ask Creator to bless them and to bless all of us on our path. And with that, we give thanks and we say, Él es Dios, gracias.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, Almighty God, guide us to pure conviction, then inspire us the courage to match this conviction by action. We pray for peace, not war, love, not hate, benevolence, not greed, unity, not division, and we commit ourselves to not betraying our prayers with actions that contradict them. Let us be for truth, no matter who is for or against it. Let us be for justice, no matter who is for or against it. Let us be for hope, no matter what obstacles lie ahead. We pray for the safety and well-being of all people in our nation and around the world, especially worshipers in their houses of worship and students in their schools. Lord, keep guiding us, inspiring us, and give us the strength and the power to continue the work for justice, to be the voice of fairness and equality, to honor our human dignity. Almighty God, bless us all, our families, and all those who love, care, and work for justice here and all over the world. Amen.
Good morning. Shabbat Shalom. And we want to say together, I'll say it first and you can say it with me, and tell me, Imam, if I'm saying it correctly. Ramadan Mubarak. Ramadan Mubarak. Let's say it together. Ramadan Mubarak. What does it mean, Imam?
Blessed Ramadan.
Why are we saying it to you today?
Because today is the 6th day of the month of Ramadan.
So and what do we do in the month of Ramadan, Imam? This is going to be the multi-faith teaching time, but you're going to walk out today, you're going to go to dinner with somebody tonight, you're going to say, it's the 6th day of Ramadan. And they're going to be so impressed with you. So listen up.
During the month of Ramadan, Muslims all over the world, they fast, which means from dawn, early in the morning, today at 4:35 a.m. until 7:45 p.m. Do not eat, do not drink anything. So they provide, they fast in order to uplift their spirituality and to become closer and closer to the Creator.
Isn't that beautiful? Do you feel that you know more now? Thank you, Imam, for telling us. Also, thank you, Imam, for being awake now. He had to eat breakfast. They have to get up. He ate breakfast at 3:30? 3:30, and then he has to go back to bed for a while. So you are our true Shabbat hero, which is really nice. The Imam is the Shabbat hero. So I want to tell you just a tiny Jewish story. One of the most important holy phrases of all of our traditions is love your neighbor as yourself. We all know it. It comes from the book of Leviticus. However you were raised, with or without religion, that idea of love your neighbor as yourself came through to you. And so we were at a press conference just a week ago with a Chabad rabbi who is in Carlsbad, not in Poway. But there's a lot happening with Chabad. By the way, that's the way you say it, not Chabad, but Chabad, like Ramadan Mubarak. It's Chabad. And so we were there together, and he was speaking, and he was talking about love your neighbor as yourself. And he said, it's easy to love your neighbor that looks like yourself, right? It's easy to love your neighbor that worships like yourself. It's easy to love your neighbor that's your family. He said, but it's harder to love your neighbor that doesn't look like you and love your neighbor that you might not have met. And I'm thinking to myself, as a progressive Jew, I'm listening to an Orthodox rabbi talk about equity. What's going on here? And he goes on and on about loving your neighbor, and your neighbor isn't necessarily who you are, and your neighbor have entirely different beliefs as you do. And he's on and on and on. Everything like you're dreaming. What would you want somebody who is not progressive to be saying? Like, I'm dreaming. I thought, am I asleep? Because I've never heard this before. I'm a woman rabbi, and we don't even shake hands because Orthodox men don't shake hands with women. So I'm thinking, what's happening here? And he spoke, and I was touched, and I was sitting next to a beautiful Muslim leader in the community, a woman, and she and I were hugging each other, and we had tears coming down, and for her, she just was hearing a rabbi. I was hearing a rabbi who doesn't accept me as a rabbi. I've been a rabbi for 35 years. So I thought, what's happening here? This rabbi is loving his neighbor as himself. He wasn't taught that way. He was taught to love the neighbor that looks like himself and practices like himself. And so we finished speaking, and I sort of walked around. It was in the park, and I see a young guy. He's clearly Orthodox Jewish because he was wearing both a kippah and he had the payas, the ringlets on his face. But he was dressed interestingly, and in his pocket was a rainbow kerchief. So I thought, now I'm really, there's an Orthodox-affiliated young gay guy in public. Like, wow, right? Now I'm really dreaming. And a minute later, I talked to a woman who has a carriage, and she's wearing, in order to show modesty, Orthodox women wear wigs. And she's talking to me, and I said, wow. She said, I'm the wife of the rabbi. I said, your husband spoke like I've never heard a rabbi speak before, a Chabad rabbi. So of course she says to me, I immediately put her on the defense. She said, well, you should come to Chabad more often, right? I thought, oh my God, things are changing. And then she said to me, and of course, you see my son. And that young man was her son. And it was his son. And that rabbi, instead of turning away from his child, he turned toward his child. And it changed him. And I haven't told the story. It only happened a week ago. But this does not happen very often. And when he said, love your neighbor as yourself, he also loved his child as himself. So I loved that story, and it taught me a lot. Shabbat shalom.
We live in a time of great violence. And we've had violence for many, many, many years, millennia in our human culture. But in this particular moment, we are facing a violence that is aimed at religious communities. We've seen violence against Muslims in New Zealand. We've seen violence against Christians in Sri Lanka. We've seen violence against Jews in Pittsburgh and Poway. And in my Christian tradition, Jesus told his disciples when he sent them out into the world to cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, and cast out demons. So I stand here as a disciple of Jesus to do one of those four things. If you need a healing, stand over there. Stand before you as a disciple of Jesus to cast out demons. In this world and in this time and in this place, we have demons of hatred. We have demons of violence that are abroad in our world, and we need to cast them out. And so I'm going to ask your help. I'm going to name the demon, and I want everybody to say, come out! So today, I tell you, we're still in the same business that Jesus was in, casting out demons. Demons of hate. Demons of violence. Demons of homophobia. Demons of racism. Demons of white supremacy. Demons of Islamophobia. Demons, 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 come out, come out, come out. Amen.
Please welcome to the stage the Executive Director of the ACLU of San Diego and Imperial Counties, Norma Chavez Peterson.
They asked me if they should have a song that, you know, they played while I came out, and I was thinking, this girl is on fire. But, oh, there we go. Yes. Good morning. Buenos dias. How's everybody doing? First, I know there's probably some other folks that are still coming in, but first I want to thank all of you for giving of your time with us today to really engage in learning and meeting like-minded people that share your values, and in continuing on our collective journey to work towards justice. So I just really thankful that you are here. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm an Xer, so I acknowledge that I need to be checked by my younger staff and remind me to do that. And ella in Spanish. So I want to also do a special thanks and ask any of our board of directors from ACLU of San Diego and Imperial Counties to maybe stand up or raise your hand. Where's our ACLU board members? There's Carl and Andrea. Thank you. And if you're on any of our committees, I see Judge Stiven there, so thank you, Judge. So I want to thank our board leaders, our committee members for all of their hard work and dedication to the organization. I also want to thank the organizers that have worked really, really hard to get you all here. I don't know where our ACLU organizers are at, but can you raise your hand? Or they're probably working. But Cassie, Gracie, Geraldine, Gaia, I want to thank them. Please give them a round. I also want to thank, and I don't know the number of states that are here, but we have several of our ACLU family from other parts of the country that are here. So if you're with an ACLU affiliate in another part of the country, I know I just met somebody from Idaho, please stand up so folks know that there's people here from other parts of the country that are going to be inspired by all of you to continue this work, because we have a lot of work to do all over this country, right? There's also folks from our national office. I see there from our national political department, so I want to thank them for their partnership and for being here. So thanks, everybody. Okay. All right, so they asked me to give you a few words, a little bit of, who we are, what we do, how we do it, and what you're expecting here today. So ACLU, I mean, it's an institution in this country. It's a 98-year-old organization that from the very beginning has been fighting to really fulfill the promise of our Constitution and Bill of Rights, and really to protect our individual rights and freedoms. And in those 98 years, there's been many, many battles that the organization has been engaged in. So many to name, but I'm sure that many of you know that history. But what we do know is that, when the country was founded and with the Constitution was written, that it was all white males that owned property. And so, we've been in those 98 years working to fulfill the promise of making sure that the Constitution and our government protects all of our fundamental rights and freedoms, including women, including immigrants, including LGBT, trans community, and everybody else, to really fulfill the promise of a more perfect union. And that's been the history and the work of this organization for those 98 years. And 2016, many of us probably woke up in 2016 or got re-engaged because we were getting comfortable, because we were thinking that maybe our country had really made some serious progress after the civil rights movement and the women's rights movement and the Chicano movement, that maybe we were there. And what have we learned is that we're not really there yet, right? That we have a lot of work to do. And so 2016 happens, many of us are shocked, and many of you came to join the ACLU. So I want to give it up to all of our new members. How many of you are new members since November 2016 and joined the ACLU? Raise your hand. Yes. Thank you so much, because many folks, here in San Diego, our small affiliate went from about 5,000 members to now 23,000 members in our county. And nationally, as an organization, we went from 500,000 card-carrying members to 1.8 million members. Now that's amazing, and that gives me a lot of hope, but at the end of the day, it's like, what are we going to do with this growth, and how are we going to make sure that we continue to invest in organizing and really building people power and making sure that all of you are doing what you need to do in your own neighborhoods, in your own communities, in your own cities, counties, state, so that we can continue to really fulfill the promise that this country has and live out our values. So I'm really excited about leading an ACLU affiliate at this time, because I think now more than ever is when ACLU is needed to continue to kind of lead the fight. So, it's kind of hard. I usually don't like talking from up here because I like to be down there with all of you. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the theme for our conference and, equity in action, advancing change together. But tell you a little bit of story of our own affiliate and how equity, even in the midst of the biggest fight of our lives, right, with what's happening politically in this country, that as an organization, we took the time to, do our strategic plan and to really wrestle a lot internally with creating a vision for our work and centering equity in that work. And so, there's a definition of equity that I'm going to actually ask you to read with me in a minute. But I think as we fight the good fight that we're fighting to hold the line on, on all of our rights and hold our line on all of the horrible things that are coming from this administration, whether it's the attacks on immigrants and the separation of families, or what's happening in terms of the impunity and the lack of accountability for law enforcement that continues to kill, black men and brown men. Even though we have to fight all of those things, it's important that we also kind of have a North Star for where we're headed. And with that, the organization made a commitment January of last year to really center equity as a guiding principle for our work and for how we do our work. And so with that, I'm actually going to ask you, because I think it's important, I'm going to talk about all the work that we do, but it's important that we do the work we do and we fight the good fight, but it's really important that we focus around where we're going and the world that we're trying to create, the San Diego that we're trying to create, the California that we're trying to create. So with that, I'm going to ask you to pull out your folder, and the front page of your program is the What is Equity? And as we were going through our process, we spent a lot of time talking about equity, and they're like, well, what does equity mean? And some people think it's like your home equity. It's not what it means. So we actually found from one of our great partners at PolicyLink a great definition of what equity is. So I'm actually going to ask you to join me in reading the Equity Manifesto, which is a guiding document that's guiding our work at the affiliate. So are you all ready? Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, disculpe. Ok, pues lo bueno es que soy bilingüe. Ok. All right, voy a decirlo en español bien breve. Buenos días, gracias. ¿Quién viene del Valle Imperial? Gracias a las personas que vienen del Valle Imperial. I forgot to mention, I wanted to give a shout out to folks that came all the way from Imperial County. Muchas gracias. So, no sé qué está pasando con la traducción. Se supone que íbamos a tener traducción. Ok, entonces, brevemente, mi nombre es Norma Chávez, soy la directora de ACLU. ACLU es una organización que tiene casi 100 años defendiendo nuestros derechos civiles, defendiendo todos los principios de la Constitución, pero sabemos que hay mucho trabajo todavía que hacer para lograr la visión y la oportunidad que puede existir en este país para todos, para que este país proteja a los inmigrantes, las comunidades de color y todo. Así es que hay mucho trabajo que todavía nos queda hacer. Entonces, eso también está en español. Lo que voy a leer es un documento que está guiando el trabajo que hacemos sobre la equidad. ¿Qué quiere decir eso? Entonces, ahorita lo voy a leer. Lo voy a leer en inglés, pero ahí me pueden seguir un poquito en español. Y yo voy a estar todo el día, así es que podemos platicar para platicarles yo un poquito del trabajo que hace la organización y cómo pueden continuar involucrándose. ¿Ok? Gracias. Y disculpen. Gracias. Y yo pensé que estaban traduciendo, así es que discúlpenme. So sorry, I thought that simultaneous translation was happening, but that's what's the benefit of being bilingual, bicultural, and a Mexican immigrant running the ACLU. So, by the way, I am the first Chicana Mexican immigrant to run an ACLU, and now I have another partner, Leo Morales, running the affiliate in Idaho, an immigrant from Oaxaca that was a farm worker. And so I've got my, I know he sent his organizer, but there's lots of change happening all over this country. And there's lots of change happening also in the organization, and I really think that that's part of our strength and our opportunity. So muchas gracias por recordarme. All right, so what is equity? I really want you to join me because I really think that the words that are written in the Equity Manifesto really illustrate for me a powerful vision of why we do this work and what we're working towards. So we're going to start. Ready? It begins by joining together, believing in the potency of inclusion, and building from a common bond. It embraces complexity as cause for collaboration, accepting that our fates are inextricable. It recognizes local leaders as national leaders, nurturing the wisdom and creativity within every community as essential to solving the nation's problems. It demands honesty and forthrightness, I can't pronounce it, and oppression, both overt and systemic. It strives for the power to realize our goals while summoning the grace to sustain them. It requires that we understand the past without being trapped in it, embrace the present without being constrained by it, and look to the future guided by the hopes and courage of those who have fought before and beside us. This is equity, just and fair inclusion into a society in which all can participate, prosper, and reach their full potential, unlocking the promise of a nation by unleashing the promise in us all. Isn't that beautiful? Right? Because I really do believe that if we don't know where we're going, any road will get us there. And so as much as we have to fight, we have to be grounded in our values, in our vision for a community and a country that really values every single human being and really creates access and opportunity for all. All right, so with that, I'm going to move a little bit and just give you a couple of highlights of the work that we've been doing over the last year. Many of you were here at our first annual equity conference. And so I think, many of you obviously have been following in the news. And so in the last year, we've been busy not only fighting the good fight in terms of what's been happening to asylum seekers and immigrants and, dealing with family separation. And we do our work by fighting in the courts. I mean, we filed over 200 lawsuits just since, this last election. But we fight in the courts, yes, we do. But we also fight in the streets. And we fight through organizing, through developing leaders, and we fight by making sure that we hold elected officials accountable. And then we also, of course, do policy work. So we've been doing all sorts of work in terms of our issues around the border and immigrant rights, both through litigation as well as policy work at the state level. And here in San Diego, pushing the County Board of Supervisors with our partners and our allies to make a building available for shelter and to continue to push them to do the right thing. How many of you went to that County Board of Supervisors meeting? Yes, thank you for doing that. So we've been busy around that front, but we've also been busy for years. About 3 years ago, the ACLU of California affiliates made a commitment to prioritize policing issues and to hold police accountable. So we first started, a couple years ago, helping to pass Dr. Weber's Racial Profiling Act, the standard, the only standard nationally that requires the collection of data for law enforcement encounters with folks. And last year, we helped to pass SB 1421, a transparency bill, which many of you probably have been reading in the news about making sure that the public has access to misconduct records for law enforcement. And it creates, this is why, because of that law, we now know a whole nother side of why Oscar Grant was killed at that Oakland BART station. We keep hearing the complete story of those incidences, and it's really part of a tool for us to continue to hold law enforcement accountable and to make sure that we end bias policing and that we are really committed to protecting Black lives, brown lives, and that we continue to push that. So we did that in California right now, and you'll be hearing a lot about that in the policing workshop. Our big priority this year is an excessive use of force bill. And I'll tell you, it's not going to be easy to pass. It's going to be a big battle, but it's going forth so that we can change a law that has not been changed since 1872 that would basically ensure that law enforcement uses force only when necessary. So it's really about saving lives and about making sure that law enforcement is accountable. And so that is going through the process. If you go to the policing workshop, you'll hear more about that and find ways that you can support that effort. So we've been busy both on the immigrant rights front as well as on the racial justice, policing, criminal justice front. And we've also been doing work around education equity and other areas. So I think one of the things that we were very clear about in 2016 is that we knew it was going to be hard work and that we were going to be fighting back, but we don't want to just be fighting. We have to get proactive. And so a lot of the other work that we're doing is trying to, not lose sight of like the other proactive work that we can do so that we're not just always in a fight. So we've been busy. To say the least, but I'm very thankful for all of you, all of our members, all of our different, activists that have gotten plugged in and gotten engaged with the organization. So real quick, and I'm going to sum it up because I know I want to get you into your workshops. The goal for this conference, this was our second annual. And, we really wanted to create a day for you all to dive deeper into the issues. So there'll be I think there's about 15 different workshops that you can dive deeper into what's happening around some of the issues that we work on. But also for you to learn different skills that can help you continue to be a leader, an advocate in the organization and in your community and neighborhood. So there'll be lots of different workshops here today. And the goal is to really to give you the tools for you to continue to be a partner in this work. The conference, I was going to tell you that we really hope that you can hang around all day. I know it's a long day, but believe me, staff have put a lot of time and effort into the different workshops, so I'm hoping that you'll stay here all day. Our final plenary this afternoon will feature our keynote speaker, CZ McDonald, a trans woman of color, formerly incarcerated, LGBTQ activist, and hate crime survivor. She's a hero to anyone who sees themselves in her struggle to overcome intolerance, injustice, and hate. So she'll be the keynote speaker later on this afternoon, especially given what's happening. You heard from our interfaith leaders, everything that's happening in terms of hate and intolerance. I think CZ's going to be able to share her own personal story and inspire us to continue to think about our work in an intersectional way, because many of us are impacted by all of these different systems. So I think you're going to really enjoy her. I know we have some music planned during your lunch hour. So there's lots of exciting things. ¿Sí les pudieron traducir o no? Ok, ¿ya está funcionando? Oh, pero están ahí. Ok, gracias, nada más quería asegurar. Okay, yeah, so we got the translation figured out. So that's what our day looks like. So again, I want to thank you all for being here. I really hope that you all get as much from this conference as we hope that you do, so that you can continue to be involved, because I really do believe that given what's happening, like the biggest hope in fulfill, like the biggest hope for change is in the people. It's, we've had some successes in the courts and we're going to continue to fight in the courts. But at the end of the day, it's going to be people talking to other people, organizing other people, and us really reclaiming the democracy around our values. So thank you all for being here this morning. Enjoy your conference. And I think that Geraldine's going to come up and give you one more announcement.
Please welcome to the stage lead organizer of the ACLU of San Diego and Imperial Counties, Geraldine Gacau.
Hello, hello. Good morning. How is everybody? Oh, amazing. Again, I wanted to thank you personally for coming here. We really appreciate your presence and your energy. And so before we cut you loose, because I know that we all really want to go and start the day, get the plenaries going and the workshops going, I want to make sure that we run through some important stuff, our community agreements or our community guidelines. I want everyone to go ahead and real quick take your booklet out, your beautiful booklet out. It's also your program agenda. And I believe it's the last page. Your community guidelines are extremely important, right? I'm not going to go through all of this, but I really want to tell you just about sort of the rules of the day and sort of the grounding that we want to set ourselves in, right? The space that we want to create with each other and for ourselves today. Really, we really want to create a safe space, right, for ourselves and each other, as well as a brave space where we're challenging ourselves and each other to step up and really get out of our comfort zone and think outside of the box. In addition to that, we want to create a collaborative space. We're here with each other, and so we want to go ahead and make that together. And of course, equitable, right? Because of course, the event is equity in action. Mindfulness, making sure that we're mindful of ourselves and others. Again, and it's going to be a long day, like Norma mentioned. So although it's not, I think it might be on here, but even if it's not, I want us all to make sure to take care of ourselves throughout the entire day. Take breaks, do whatever you need to do. There is a meditation or quiet room out in the back that you can attend to, and you can feel free to ask any staff that's wearing a red t-shirt where that is if you're not sure how to find it. And then most importantly, have fun, right? Because we're here for a long day. I want to make sure that you all are enjoying yourselves. Sound good? Awesome. And I do urge you to go ahead and take a few minutes to really read through it very thoroughly so that we can all have a great time. And lastly, we do have, you'll notice in the middle of the program booklet, we do have our amazing equity bingo. Do we got some bingo players in the house? Well, even if you don't play bingo, I want you to go ahead and play bingo today because again, when it comes to creating a very collaborative space, we really wanted to find ways and provide activities for you to go ahead and do that and maybe have conversations with someone in the room who you've never met or hear about experiences that you've never heard of or even share maybe some of your own if you are willing to take that brave step, right? And so how to play, there are directions on the left. We are going to give some prizes out. You're going to get entered in a raffle. You'll see that there's a $100 gift card prize, hey. And then some cool ACLU swag that we will also give to a few people in a random drawing. And so, again, please make sure you do this. Fill that out. Email back a picture of your completed card to us. And with that, I think, are we ready to go? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and cut you all loose and have a great time, everyone.
The opening plenary has now concluded. We will now have a short break and reconvene into our breakout sessions. The first session will start promptly at 10:30 a.m. Please refer to your program booklet for workshop descriptions and locations.